Hi, I'm Ishan.
I'm Ed.
And I'm Andre.
Yeah, Andre. Andre
I'm also Ed.
is here. They're joined together. This is Underqualified, a business casual podcast we do every single week whenever we can. What do we talk about today?
This is episode 9. We talked about a lot about AI robots, Apple, Tesla, Amazon,
Elon.
shitting on Elon Musk. And then we went on to just some breaking news stuff. And listen in.
It's been a week later since we
It's a
were
Sunday.
praising.
It's not our usual filming day.
We were praising Roaring Kitty last time, becoming a billionaire, and now he's not
No,
a
he's
billionaire. How surprised were you, Ed, at the events that took place post
I don't know.
the podcast? How do you feel about it?
It was all very risky, and I don't think it's smart if you've parked your entire net worth in $300 million worth of GameStop options and stock. I don't think it's anyway. He obviously had some play in mind, and I'm not sure it's worked. But there are a lot of believers still, so I don't know. We'll see.
So Ed, and you also have your money.
I sold.
Oh, you sold? Yeah. No way.
Yeah, I don't think it's going
at a loss.
Yeah, I lost. I think I lost 30%, which I was like, whatever.
Yeah, it's whatever. I'm just smiling.
It's $10.
The cost of doing business.
So to recap, last week when we recorded, the pre-market price, the after-hours price for GameStop was around $65.
Yeah, it was up.
Which would put his stake at $1 billion, and that's why we were like, oh my god, he's becoming a billionaire. And then the next few days, the price just went down. A lot of people shorting, a lot of people losing faith, and it came out, I think 2 days ago, he actually sold his call options. Not all of it. I think he exercised 40,000 of it.
Yeah.
So remember, exercising is when you actually buy the shares that the options entitle you to. Because the price is still above $20, which was his strike price.
It was profitable.
It was profitable. So he made money. So he converted those to shares. He sold the rest of his call options, I believe. And now he owns 9 million shares in GameStop, which I believe is 2% of the entire company. And I don't really know, but apparently it's more than the CEO, or I think what's probably likely the case, it's more than the CEO before all this dilution and stuff happened. I think the CEO probably owns 30 or so.
I think
he's
made he's locked in 50 mil of profit.
Oh, I didn't do the research, but we should do a little dive into the CEO of GameStop because he's a very interesting.
Is he pets.com? Or is
no,
pet food thing?
Yeah, it was a pet food thing. He did Chewy.
Yeah.
Wait, do you guys know about it? Chewy?
Don't know the law behind it. But.
He is such an interesting guy. So the CEO of GameStop, he's not the original CEO of GameStop. He recently joined. His name's Ryan Cohen. And I'm just saying this all off the top of my head. I might get some details wrong. But he essentially he started Chewy and a bunch of other sort of e-commerce type
and is
brands.
Chewy just direct-to-door pet food delivery?
Yeah, I think it's pet food delivery or something. And then, he sold that for $200 million. And when you make $200 million, a lot of people, they diversify. They will take $1 million here, 2 million here, 5 million, 10, 50, put it into index funds, mutual funds, blah, 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 ETFs, and you just diversify. You do some private equity stuff. He took half of his winnings from Chewy.com, which was, let's say it was $400 million or something. I don't know the actual number. He took half of that, put 200 million into Apple, and then he put 200 million into Wells Fargo.
Whoa.
Wait, into the bank account, right?
No, into the stock.
Into the
Wells
stock.
Fargo.
Weird.
So
Apple would have done well.
Yeah. So then Apple did extremely well, and I think it did well to the point where he made another $200 million. He's young, by the way. He's maybe mid to late 30s, I think. He went all in there, and it worked out. And then he was, for some reason, he's a part of GameStop. I don't know why, but he started buying up shares. He's he's an activist shareholder where he'll buy, not majority, but substantial stakes in companies. Let's say more than 5%. Usually for people that don't know, when you buy 5% or more of a company, you have to disclose it publicly. He usually does that and then says, hey, you guys need to be fixing this and doing this. And I think he did that to GameStop. He was you guys have a good brand, but the retail business is fucked, and I can come in. I've got a lot of e-commerce, D2C knowledge. I can help you guys transform the business. And I think that's why he initially bought the shares. Then he got appointed to the board, and then now he's CEO. Anyway, he's like a very interesting. I like that's how I envision myself. Kind of playing out my run as well. I'm just gonna keep going all into things. And just doing crazy shit like that. I think that's kind of fun.
Cool.
It's mental to just put it all into Apple, but I don't know. It's pretty hard to find a bear case for it in the when he would have bought it 5 years ago or something.
Yeah,
longer.
maybe 5 years ago. He's done incredibly well. But anyway, going back to sort of Roaring Kitty. So he now owns one of the biggest shareholders in the company, 9 million shares. Well, at least for an individual.
Yeah.
And he got rid of his call options. He still has his equity, so he hasn't sold any shares. Like he's still net long. I think he might have sold some. Oh no, he had like 30 million cash in his account.
Yeah.
And I think that's what he used to exercise those options.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's sold a single share yet. So yeah, I mean, who knows what will happen? What do you think will happen with So you sold, so you obviously don't think that he's going to do, or GameStop isn't going to do well anymore.
Well, I sold because I don't have he's got the potential to make a fuck ton of money if it works, and actually he can move the dial a bit. Whereas I'm I don't know, if it doubles, it's not that much money. You know what I mean?
Which is the counter argument to that is, all right, if it
yeah.
you're only losing $1,000, so you might as well hold on to it.
Might as well hold. But I don't know. I did literally immediately just put it straight into Shopify stock because I was looking at my portfolio and I was like, oh, should this be in GameStop or something I actually believe in long term and to boost my position a bit more? I think it makes more sense in there. So
you moved it to Shopify.
Yeah.
Do you still do any investing, Andre?
I'll get back into it. Probably in a year's time, but not at the moment. Been very poor.
Do you think Shopify is a good choice for what's the price now? Shopify used to be a massive company.
Yeah,
I think it's gone down a bit, the price.
I bought probably 3 years ago and I'm down 20% still. Whereas every other one of my FANG vibes, Netflix, I think I'm up 80% or something, blah, blah, blah. But Shopify is one that just hasn't kind of pushed through and I don't know why.
So the market cap, Shopify is back up kind of from the COVID peak, but they're currently worth $87 billion.
There's some real juice in there, I would say.
Yeah, okay. They're doing well. I kind of view Shopify similar to Stripe, where they're both kind of index for people buying things online. And so if you think there's going to be tailwinds for direct to consumer brands or that whole the spending converting to online, which over the long-term trend should be people are just going to buy things online because you remember.
And I think Shopify is the best platform to do that, and I don't think anyone's catching them. If
Stripe was public, would you prefer putting money into Stripe than Spotify because Stripe is the payment processor, or would you? Because you guys are e-commerce, you guys do direct to consumer stuff.
Yeah.
What would you guys prefer?
Shopify Payments uses Stripe still, a white label version.
I think so, yeah.
Which I'm shocked by. I'm sort of shocked that they haven't, or maybe they are developing
Start
their own.
Shopify Pay or something.
Yeah.
Do they have that? Shopify Pay?
I think they just tap in, Stripe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think in terms of Stripe as a competitor, it's got PayPal. Is PayPal public? Sure.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of competition in payment processing, whereas Shopify, as a in that niche of platform backend e-commerce stuff, I don't think anyone comes close, and they just keep innovating.
Not a WooCommerce or
Fuck
big
no.
something
God, no.
big whatever. I don't
cartel.
know.
No, they're
Big
just
cartel.
so shit.
I mean, going into it, so that guy. One of my topics today was so Ryan Cohen. He bought up $200 million worth of Apple. And I think Apple back then there's some companies that are kind of a sure bet, at least over the next 5 years, where for Apple to go to zero in 5 years, his let's just say his investing time horizon was 5-10 years.
Yeah.
For Apple to go to zero, it's possible.
But some crazy shit would have to happen.
Crazy shit would need to happen. It is one of the most influential, impactful technologies in the world. Look at everyone. We all have iPhones. It dominates Western markets, at least. Apple's one of those big companies that I guess if you're going to put $200 million into one stock, that's a relatively safe bet. It's not as safe as putting it into, I was about to say a bank, but even banks, I don't know, in this day and age, I actually don't think that's the most safest stock. maybe some like some stock that generates a lot of income. Maybe is
You could put it in
that's
Berkshire
not a
Hathaway.
bank, like a
mining or some
Berkshire. Maybe some like big resource
ETF
company,
thing.
like maybe that. But yeah, so in saying that, the overall trend over the past decade has been the big tech companies are taking up more and more the entire market cap of the stock market.
Yeah.
So they're more dominant. And there's a stat here that the 5 largest companies in the S&P currently make up the highest percentage concentration in history. And it's about 25%. So 5 companies make up 25% of the entirety of the US stock market. Which is like, that's never, like, if I look at
That's pretty risky, isn't it?
yeah, so like, it's risky, but it's also, there is like this argument where maybe things are heading that way, like the movies where there's like 2 or 3 monopolistic giant corporations that run everything and offer all the services, and like maybe things are heading that way. Like Nvidia is one that's not consumer, but Nvidia is powering almost every single AI application on Earth.
Like there
at the
just
moment.
won't be any other GPU company.
Like, yeah, to Nvidia is very hard to copy. That's a business model that's very hard to copy because you have to have that R&D, and then even if you have the R&D, you have to have like the blueprints and the manufacturing know-how and the data centers, and there's like so many layers to try and. That's why like Jensen Huang, who is like the Nvidia CEO, is such like a smug motherfucker. Like he's smiling because he just knows like it's very hard to duplicate what he's built. But yeah, like maybe do you guys think that that's where things are going, where you're going to have like a Nvidia, Apple, OpenAI, and those are the 3 overlords of our society?
Well,
and
it's like I guess the acquisition
science fiction was right.
thing where now they're so big that any small, like if, let's say we'll use NVIDIA as the example. So like for someone to even compete, they would need to probably invent a new way of computer processing, because NVIDIA are so advanced at GPUs and that format.
Yeah.
You would almost need to be researching something fucking crazy like quantum computing and blah, 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 which I'm sure they're doing too.
The next frontier. Yeah.
It's coming, I think. But
It's still a thing. People are still working on areas of that.
Like, I think the issue is then like NVIDIA they'll see the technology and they'll go, that looks like it's going to work. Like, and it's just these 3 Stanford guys. If we give them $80 million, we can just take it off them. And the guys will take it. And then NVIDIA gets that, intellectual property. NVIDIA gets bigger and there's no more competition. And it's like this constant like acquisition thing. And Google, Meta, just do insane acquisition, and Apple as well. Like all the VR stuff was acquisitions, like Oculus for Meta, on and on and on. It's just acquisitions, no competition. So I'm interested to see whether the like Congress allows it.
Few examples come to mind where there was this company that's building humanoid robots as a competitor to Tesla's humanoid product that's coming out. It's called Figure. I'm pretty sure the CEO is Brett Adcock or something. And sorry, Andre. And he's like, Jeff Bezos, Jensen Huang, all the big monopolistic Sith lords of tech. Yeah. They're all investors or like lead investors in that company. OpenAI, Microsoft is the lead investor in that, and Apple has now done a deal with OpenAI. And so like that's pretty crazy, right? We've got Figure
awesome.
robot on the screen. They are coming for all of us. Isn't that insane? This I didn't even mean for this to be a topic, but like these like humanoid robots are coming, and like based on what I know, which is not much, this is not my role and area of expertise, but based on what I've researched, I think that these will be commercially viable, and at least every single business or office will have one, and maybe like wealthier households will have one in maybe the next, I'll say like 2-3 years.
I say 8.
Yeah, I feel like longer.
8 years. There are some stuff on the regulation side that might be hard to pass by, on like to have like a humanoid robot.
And like what happens if, this is obviously stupid sci-fi talk, but like what happens if robot accidentally like steps on an animal at home, or like a baby, you know what I mean? Like accidentally drops a thing of plates and kills someone. It's like, what's the...
Well, I think when you buy one, like
there's a liability.
When you buy one, you're going to be signing away these liabilities. Like you're going to sign there's going to be T's and C's which you're not going to read. And then, you'll be signing that away where like a lot of these companies won't be liable if something goes wrong. But no, you guys are right. I think I should reframe my prediction. I think the technology will be viable and here and ready in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Maybe not. It might not get past
in market
the legislative frameworks to in
and
market.
It might be like
that.
150 grand for one of them, probably more.
Right. Oh no. So apparently no. It depends who you believe. So Elon Musk, they had so Tesla had the AI day. Or like some conference in the past week. He said that he believes that Tesla will be responsible for the majority of manufacturing AI humanoid robots very soon, and that he thinks that there will be about 10 billion humanoid robots within the world operating in the next, I think, decade was his time frame. I'm not too sure, and he thinks that Tesla will do at minimum 10% of that. So that's a billion robots that they're going to manufacture. And he said he can get the cost down to about $10,000 a robot and then sell it for 20. And so based on those, and then like a bit of like blue sky napkin math, he just very casually said, he's like, Tesla, we should probably do $1 trillion in profit if that plays out.
So which is
like, that's so insane, right? Like he said it so nonchalant. Like it was so... And like I 100% believe that thesis. I don't know if it'll play out exactly like that. He obviously knows a lot
Not
more.
on the timeline. Like his timelines are...
His timelines are always aggressive, but I love people who have a aggressive time. Like that's how things get done.
Yeah, he might be 5 years late, but still, it's like that's still fucked up.
Like you kind of need to do... That's like the whole Steve Jobs thing where he was telling his employees like this needs to be done in 6 months. And although it's such an asshole thing and he was probably a painful person to work with, the Apple got things done because the employees were like, they had to get something done in 6 months. That seemed impossible. And they got it done in 8, or because the leadership and direction, the boss was like, pressuring that / set the tone and the vision of no one else is going to do it. So we are responsible for like pushing mankind forward. And like some of his staff love that. Some of them hate it, but you cannot argue that it worked. Like the iPhone came out, and then Tesla, the cars came out, and it's a rough.
So what happens to like when you automate trucks and manual labor, and potentially even like normal cars, like Uber drivers and stuff? What happens to that massive chunk of the labor market? Like where do they go?
I think
their skill would be in, if you're a painter, you've been a painter, and a robot comes in that can paint your house perfectly. What happens to them?
I have like a very optimistic view of all this because I just think if you look back on all periods of history, all the eras of technology, the first industrial revolution, the second, the third, now we're on the fourth one. All of these technologies have come out and then they've replaced jobs, and then those people have found new ones.
Yeah.
And whether it's, they had to be upskilled or naturally these technologies create entirely new jobs that in adjacent fields. So it's not completely different. It's like in this example, if an AI is driving the truck, maybe you are like the human manager that's overseeing the AI. And once in a while, you get paid your $20, $30 an hour. And if the AI is saying, hey, warning, I can't really detect what this thing is in front of the truck, I'm going to stop the truck and you go check it out. Help. I think it's going to play out like that. Yeah. So I think the jobs we will always find. Yeah, that's obviously like a very like optimistic view. There's other people will go like, oh, we'll need UBI, like universal basic income, because there's going to be no jobs. But that's just never happened in history. Every single step of the way, there's always been like this protest of get rid of this technology, otherwise it'll take our jobs. The technology just gets out and it encapsulates the world, and these people find new jobs, and it's always been like that. So I don't know. History does like repeat itself sometimes, or like history rhymes or whatever. And yeah, I don't think transportation is a huge one. I think that's about a third of the workforce, right? And so a lot of people will semi-lose their jobs, but also they might find new passions and new jobs to do. There's a few truck drivers that I'm sure that they love driving trucks and they have a passion for it and they feel like they're good at it. But I'm sure there's a handful of other ones that they're just doing it because it pays the bills and it's not substituting, but it's prohibiting them from finding their true passions in life. And so I think I hate saying like the trade-offs thing, but there is a lot of trade-offs to these things. But I think overwhelmingly it's a net positive for the world if some of these jobs, especially driving trucks and stuff, is like very dangerous. It's one of the, main killers.
At least initially, like they'll become supervisors, though, right? As you
said, supervisors,
so
and
they won't be out of a job. They'll still have to sit in the truck for many, many years, probably. Especially in Australia, we always get things sort of 10 years after the US. It'll be a while, I think.
And there won't be any trust, will there?
No. And what about software developers as well? Like, what are they going to do? Go get a trade and then?
It's funny because like when people think about AI, they always. Well, at least 10 years ago, we probably all thought, everyone in the world thought, when AI comes out and it's working and it's viable, it's going to get rid of all the blue collar work first and then slowly get through the things that are a bit more harder and less like Nile. And then it'll get to like artists and creative. But it seems like the complete opposite that's happening where artists, it looks like, somewhat will be replaced, whether it's editing a video or taking a photo or there's all these different fields that AI is currently placing work in. And then like all the snooty software developers, and I could say that because I studied computer science and I was going to be a software engineer. All these snooty developers, they thought that their jobs would be last because I'm so smart, my brain is so unique that I can only do this. And turns out the AI is really fucking good at the stuff. It turns out the AI is bad at the blue collar work, at picking up an apple and putting it here or picking up a screwdriver and
it's fucking terrible at it.
That is, AI is very, and that's part of the reason why people are, the Sith lords of the world are investing in things like Figure, because that is, if you could solve that, that's, multi-trillion-dollar outcome. But yeah, it's very hard to do.
If we're starting a robot, automated robot, like IRL thing that is there to pack packages in their warehouse or, move things, whatever, clean dishes, what's the business model? Do you run it as a subscription? Do you run it as you buy a robot as a one-time fee? Like, how does that work?
Have you guys played
like an iPhone?
Detroit Becoming Human?
No.
It's everyone listening should play this game. It's it's the scenario where AI robots have not taken over the world; they are servants to humans.
Good.
And the way that people use them or buy them is a lot of people can't afford the $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 price tag. So yeah, you pay it off in installments or you get a loan on like if Apple was the one providing the humanoid robots, you would go on a plan to pay back. You'd go on a loan with Apple to pay it off. And then there's other sort of quasi business models of like, yes, get a loan, put some upfront to buy the robot and have the remainder as a loan, but then get your robot to do work to pay off the loan. And there's like cool little niche things that you could probably do. I'm trying to think. I think genuinely the way we're going to head is that there will be a humanoid robot, maybe one in every in every household to do chores like clean dishes or turn off the lights there, or it will kind of act like, how people have home pods right now and like the Google pods where they go like, hey Google, what's the weather like? Blah, blah, blah. It'll be that, but it can actually like do some of these like gardening tasks or whatever. There is this argument of, hey, I actually like mowing my grass and I don't want to take away that human element of like living life. But this is just for people that probably want to spend more time with their kids or if you're disabled. There's plenty of positive use cases for it. But I think the household opportunity is pretty big on the I guess that's the consumer side. The B2B side is probably the biggest.
Like
Enterprise
warehouse
size.
packing.
Warehouses, packaging, self-serve, like food, services, waiters, restaurant service workers. I think this is going to be the obvious one. All these businesses need to generate a profit. This is how they stay in business. So if they can get a worker that is
Slightly cheaper.
like in some cases, if he's saying this humanoid costs 10K, remember, a human costs what, 50K in wages a year, like a waitress, or 40K or whatever. So you can get, 1/3 the cost. They work 24/7, and they're continuously learning and getting better. And you're not playing with motivations like, one day I'm gonna fucking get out of this waitressing job because like I want to do something else. Like robots, you give them a task, you give them an objective, they're not going to stray away from that.
Do you think it would be a case where because like obviously you wouldn't want people, I guess, jailbreaking a robot that could do things that aren't they're not meant to do. I think it's like, only a matter of time once they're around, people start playing around with them that you can like, all right, go and kill this person. That could be crazy.
That's partially the reason why I do agree with you when you're like, this might take a while legally to allow to put these robots in production and sell them commercially, because you're right. I do think if the risk of them being hacked is non-zero, we can't afford that risk of putting them out there in the world. And even today, I was just reading before, there's talk about getting rid of or like not doing electronic voting, like especially with the election coming up in the States, because the risk is non-zero for people to hack into those systems, and you don't want it to fuck with your like democratic process of electing someone. And so if the chance is non-zero, it's going to take some time until we're confident enough that you can't hack. And there's like some technical stuff that I probably won't go into too much because I'm not an expert, but a lot of these robots you want to process all the operations and what they think about and the tasks they do on device. It's called like edge computing. So it's never connecting to the cloud. It's never connecting to an external. And like, so it shouldn't be able to be like remotely hacked. Sure, someone could like go up to it and like, I'm just trying to think of like a sci-fi.
Then as soon as you go to like that, if they unscrew,
thing.
it's like bang, shut down. You know?
Yeah. So if there's, I don't know what the solution is for that in particular, but it's crazy.
It's interesting, like in
crazy world.
Back to the investing side of things, like thematic investing of that. There's not even any really. That's the issue. Is there's no public stocks. If you're like, I think this is the future, these robot things, I'm going to invest in the 4 or 5 top companies, because they're just private, massive, and then they get bought by Amazon, Microsoft, et cetera.
Yeah, I think if there's no pure play humanoid company that's public, which there isn't as I'm aware of, there might be actually some, but they're not like great. Like they're probably like kind of scammy and shitty. But yeah, I think you're right. If you want to sort of invest into that thematic, you're better off putting the money into the people that will put their money into those companies, which is like Amazon, Apple, Google, blah blah blah.
And it's kind of shit. It's like
you're not going to get the upside of being right. You're going to get the upside of Apple, which Apple's currently a $3 trillion company. I think that if Apple executes well and makes the right bets and doesn't stray too far from its current path, that over the next decade, it could be like a $10 trillion company, which is like an insane return. That's 200% over 10 years, but that's the same as like a house, right? So it's like, you're not going to become a billionaire by investing in Apple at this point.
Whereas if you were a sophisticated investor and had access to an early round in Figure or I forgot what, Tesla's is Tesla, right? It's not like
it's called Optimus. Yeah, it's a part of Tesla.
Same shit. Like if you can get in at like an early valuation, it's obviously risky, but you're gonna make a lot more money.
I think Tesla might be a better. Like Tesla would be if I wanted to make a bet on humanoid or like this type of future. I would put my money in Tesla, and I'd also that's directly.
It seems like they're going pretty heavily. Like it's gonna be like a third of their business.
Yeah. So like like Elon this past week when he talked about it, he was very like this will be the focus, and this will overshadow the vehicle business, which the vehicle business is the big business at the moment. But so directly, I would probably, if I wanted to directly benefit from humanoids and stuff, I would invest in Tesla. If you want to indirectly benefit from it, I would look at like resource companies and energy companies that, remember, if you want to power a fucking humanoid robot that's going to run
battery,
that's going to run 2 trillion operations a second and be so smart that it could do some of these tasks and chores. You're going to need
chip.
You're going to need the chips, the materials, anything, the components to build these humanoid robots. You should invest in. So I remember before the chip craze was going off with NVIDIA and AMD and stuff like that, people were investing in the mines that would extract and mold the components that would be used to power these data centers or to power these chips. And in those companies were, so like if you were someone that invested in Apple, Apple benefit, or like NVIDIA benefited a lot from this whole AI chip boom, and they've probably gone up, I don't know, I'm going to guess like 50x or something like that. But putting your money into some of these other companies, like the energy ones or the mining ones or blah, 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 some of these went from like,
1 cent.
Yeah, 1 cent to fucking $10, and
like
now
Pilgrim Minerals,
like,
I think it's 1 cent to got to $4.20, so it's like a 400x.
Right. Yeah. There was a lot more alpha to be. Well, the opportunity was a lot greater in these like other parts of the market where people aren't looking. They're like the non-obvious parts, and like very sophisticated people are obviously looking at these and investing in them. But the general retail, in mass hysteria wasn't flowing to these companies. So that's probably one way that you could think about when you're trying to invest in a thematic. Where is the non-obvious way to place a bet to benefit from, and not just do the company that everyone else is investing in? And that could probably work that way.
Did Elon talk about the robo-taxis recently, or is that?
I don't know if he talked about the robo-taxis. I'm trying to think. I think this was like very much to do with the humanoid aspect of it. Robo-taxis is interesting because, okay, you have a Tesla.
Yeah.
I have a Tesla as well. There is like this dream that like when you're not driving it, which we don't really, we live in, in a pretty like populated city. It's kind of a pain to drive here and there. Yeah. You do more driving now, being a bit out of the city, but like, if you could just like leave your car and it goes Ubering for you or whatever, like it goes picks up other people and makes money for you, and like that's a little side income to pay off your car / pay you / whatever. That is like a cool like dream, and he's been talking about that for a while. And again, with the timelines, I think he said he wanted 1 million robo taxis out in the world by 2022 or 2023, and it's like there's zero currently out there. Is that something that's kind of exciting for you? Do you like the robo taxis thing?
Yeah, 100%. I just driving's not always fun. You don't always want to do it.
Oh, so you're just talking about like self-driving cars in general?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you're talking about like you would just love to hop in the car, go on your laptop, and it drives you somewhere. Yeah. And they have some really great. I was recently when I was in San Francisco. They've got this Cruise and some other ones that there's some companies that are doing self-driving taxis that are like really good.
Waymo.
Waymo's
such
one.
A weird name, man.
Waymo's one. Cruise is one. And they work
because it's legal in California.
They work.
Right?
Yeah, it's and they work.
Do they work though?
Yes. Oh, it's working. It's working. There's been few accidents here and there, but if you base if it's one accident per billionth ride, that's better than one per 3 million ride that humans get in an accident.
And I'm sure that the accidents were caused by a human driving as well.
Yeah, I think for the most part it is human caused. On the other parties, the counterparty, whoever. The robot is
San Francisco a very like organized place road-wise? Because like imagine doing that in LA. Like
it's not
I don't
really.
know.
San Francisco's mental.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
so
pretty
it's like
hectic
LA?
place.
Yeah.
It's pretty hectic. So like, I think a lot of people that are in those circles and building these technologies, they all agree that self-driving cars are coming very shortly, if not. We're kind of already there with the technology. Now it's the long haul part of working with the regulators and fucking getting over that whole hurdle of because you would think all they have to prove is, look, we've done, let's say, 300 million rides. Of the 300 million, this is the percentage of accidents that were caused by the robot. Now plot this against 3 million human rides and the percentage of human caused accidents. And if the robot one, which it's 1/100th of the volume compared to the human accidents, why would you not go ahead and, if you're proving that this is a safe technology and it's even safer than humans, it makes no sense to my brain why you wouldn't want to push for a technology like that. Remember, I'm not saying let's enforce this in working industries or enterprise. I'm not talking about truck driving or anything. I'm just talking about consumer. For us to have the option to go on Uber or go on another app and order a taxi, which I guess is quasi getting rid of. That's getting rid of riders. Yeah. So I didn't think about that part for a second. But I think at the end of the day, if there's any experience that's better for the consumer, it's cheaper for the consumer. Unfortunately, it's going to happen no matter what. That's the same thing with like fast food places. Like we've slowly seen McDonald's got self-checkout and there's other KFC has self-checkout. And that's also another one where I think quite literally in the next few years, it will phase into completely nobody will be in these stores, maybe one manager or something. And unfortunately, it's just because it's cheaper, it's more convenient. People just if the people prefer, if the society as a whole prefers it, it's going to happen.
It's gonna be inevitable. Really weird though, because like basically I'm intrigued to see whether it repeats and it's like, oh, there's more jobs in robot repair and all this like someone has to build a self-checkout window, like all that kind of stuff. Like there's jobs created, but I'm intrigued to see whether the robots and the AI stuff will be kind of just cut out the bottom layer of society of like, blue collar workers and skilled people who have one skill or work in hospitality and stuff like that. I'm really interested to see whether it actually just cuts them out instead of finding them new jobs, which would be interesting. It's like software developers, people who own businesses, like how fucking rich Elon Musk is going to get so much richer from this. Will he just like cut out 100 million jobs and take the money from that? Like, we'll see.
I think that there's going to be let's say, the bottom pile of people that would be directly affected. They lose their job because of AI. I'm still pretty confident that they will find something that will substitute that income. And my little prediction is maybe to make all this AI work, you need data, and they need a lot of data. And I think that it's going to be a job in the near future to provide data to AI just by living your life, talking, farming, like providing content on a Reddit or a Twitter or OpenAI, whatever. I think you're going to start being paid for the data that you provide. And that's just one job that immediately comes to mind where I'm like, legitimately, like these companies need that to provide these services. And right now they get a lot of this data for free. You go on Facebook, you go on Instagram. Whenever you take a photo and you post it on Instagram, you're providing Instagram Meta that data for free. No one's paying you to post that, and you're willingly doing it for free when they're farming it and using it to make their neural networks better or whatever, their LLMs better. And so, I think there's going to be some uprising there, and there's going to be some there's going to be some balance where people are going to start making money off that. And that's just like one example of some income substitution for losing those jobs.
It could be cool if they were really cheap. Like Tesla just sells them as iPhones. It's like, all right, it's $1,000 for a robot. We don't care what you do with it. It comes kind of like a bit stupid. And it like can't really, but you have to teach it, right? So like, it's like some farmer, some dude who's like not doing too well because, they're like, big supermarkets aren't paying as much for milk or blah, blah, blah. And he buys $1,000 robot and he's really good at teaching it how to like do things and lower his margins. That would be awesome. Like it could actually
That's
potentially
actually kind of interesting idea.
Bring some people up.
Yeah.
If you're sewing somewhere for Fashion Nova in like Bangladesh, making a cent a day or whatever ridiculous it is, you know, you guys all pull together and like buy a robot and then teach it how to do the sewing and make the clothes. And then your output's the same. Maybe they don't have to work as much that day. Maybe this. They can slowly like work their way up again. It's a, you know, similar thing to
That's
you know, buying disadvantaged people like an asset like a cow or chickens or whatever, where they can like start making some money on the side as well, just passive income from the cow. It could be interesting, like a little robot income source. But I think the price is going to be a real issue. And then if Tesla or anyone is going to be greedy, as they will be, they fucking need shareholder value. They're just going to charge. It's going to be like flat fee up front, then monthly subscription. And it's just going to be like big warehouses. All these like rich people will have them, and then everyone's just going to get cut out.
Yeah, I mean, you were mentioning before that is Elon just going to grab all that money that the bottom pile of people are going to lose out on? And that's kind of related to big news this week, where in 2018, I believe, he basically went to all of his shareholders and his board and he said, hey, look, if I 10x the stock in the next, I think, 5 years, will you guys give me, 10% of the company? And he drafted out that plan. He went to shareholders. Shareholders voted, and they said yes. It was overwhelming. I think it was about 75 or 73%.
It's like a performance bonus, right?
Yeah. And this is a way to like incentivize Elon to maximize shareholder value.
Yeah.
Like it's a very like simple concept that's been going around for a long time. Anyway, that was approved, and that was in 2018. And then a few years later,
he fucking smashed it.
He fucking did it. He 10x the company. Yeah. Like, there's probably some like socialists or some people listening going like, it wasn't just him. He has all these employees. Yeah, I get it. I'm just, for the sake of it.
Yeah, he's the fucker that put a contract that said
he's a face of the company.
If the stock price goes up 10x, I get the reward.
Yes. So anyway, everyone approved that, or most people approved that, and he then went on thinking that, okay, if I 10x the stock, I'm going to get 10% of the company, which is about $55 billion. And so, yeah, he went ahead, he made the right calls, and he executed well, and the company 10x, and he was like, all right, time to get my options, time to get my 10% in the company. And then the jurisdictional or like the judicial powers that overlook, I think it was Delaware, I believe, they were like, hold on a second. Let's pause on this. We might not give you your money. We might not give you the 10% that your shareholders promised. And this has gone on like, there was a huge debate whether that was like an abuse of power in the first place to stop Elon from getting it. But then he did something that was pretty obvious, but like was the right thing to do. He's like, all right, let me just ask my shareholders again. They voted in 2018 to give it to me. Let me see what they're feeling right now. If they say that they don't want to give me this 10%, fine. They did the vote again, and it was about, I think, around the same, 70, 75%. They were like, yeah, have your shares. You fucking 10x. I am now 10 times richer because of you. You put in the work and got through. So, yeah, they voted. They said yes again, but it's still up in the air if he'll even get this package, which is like crazy.
It's crazy that
he might not get this money when it's like, to people that don't understand how crazy that is if you were working a job and they were like, all right, your salary this year is $70,000, and you put you worked very hard, and you did all the things, you did everything right, and then at the end of the year they're like, actually, your salary is $30,000 or $40,000, and you just feel like you've been cheated on because you're working with the expectation that you were getting $70,000. That was probably a bad example, but you get what I mean. Like, I don't know. That was kind of interesting.
I think it's I think it's only being blocked because it is an obscene amount of money. Like, no one needs $55 billion. But if it was him asking the company, regulator thing, can I get 10% of my company for this bonus? I'd be like, sure. How much was it? And it's like, it's like $1 million bonus. And I'd be like, oh, yeah, no worries. But it's because it's $55 billion. It's like, this seems wrong.
Well, it's like, and I can see how people would think that, but it's also in proportion to the game that you're playing. Like, he took the company to $1 trillion fucking dollars. that is a very hard thing to do. There's only 2 or 3 companies in the world, or 4 companies that have ever reached $1 trillion. And so he did something that was like, he pulled off the impossible. He should be proportionally rewarded for that. And just because the game he's playing in is a lot more, the stakes are a lot higher than, let's say, the CEO of some bank that will get a $20 million bonus. And really the CEOs of those banks do fuck all. They don't sleep at the offices. They don't rally their troops to like innovate and push mankind forward. They're doing all of the like very unethical shit, and no one, people complain about their bonuses, but no one has like, I think this is a first where like a regulator or like a judicial power is like stripping away a performance package
that was
voted and agreed on behalf of Elon. So yeah, it's wild. People love to fucking hate him.
Isn't it swaying in his direction now? Like the voting thing or whatever?
No, the voting thing, 100%. It's confirmed. And the second voting round happened.
Right?
Yes.
No, but he's not. He still might not get it. Which is like insane. And like, look, I don't know what you guys think about Elon. I'm not like the biggest fan of Elon as a person. He's kind of like cringe, corny. He's definitely an asshole. Definitely very painful to work with. But I respect anyone that pushes the boundaries and like creates.
He's obviously and everyone's like, oh no, but it's his employees that did it. Yeah, he hired them and he's built systems that have allowed Tesla to scale and SpaceX to scale, and it's successful. And I'd argue what he's doing, yes, lithium mining is bad for the company. Bad for the world.
Yeah.
But I think it's, again, less bad. Electric cars are good. They're less bad than fossil fuels. It's a move in the right direction.
Yeah. So there's like all those debates about those things. But the one thing that like grinds my gears is whenever I hear someone say like, he didn't put in the work, it's his employees. Those are people that don't understand business or have never built a business. Where, what do you think happens when you go to work, when a regular person has a regular job and they have managers and bosses, you're going to work and someone's telling you to do something, right? Like you have to carry out a bunch of tasks, but who is telling you that? It's your manager, it's your boss, and how does the manager know what to tell you what to do? It's because their boss is saying it and their boss. And it all leads to the CEO of the company to set the tone and the vision and the incentives and the motives, and to get a cohort of people to achieve and push towards a vision. It's like that is like a very hard thing to do. There's a reason why, for the people that are making that argument, like there's a reason why you're not the CEO of something. There's a reason why you're not the boss of something. And there's a reason why you live in working terms, a relatively easy life where you are just told to do a task and you execute in the task. It's a lot harder being someone that is on their own path. Like there's they're on an unknown path where no one's telling them what to do. They have to be the ones to think of how to, be, what do they call it? Like maestro? Who like
the conductor
or like whatever. Like I think people like severely underestimate how difficult it is to be that person and how to execute on that.
And also it's like if you put in a to-do list, like, yes, maybe Elon Musk doesn't do that much work, but the pressure on him all the time is what I guess a lot of that money's for. Is it's like, if I fuck this up, if I fuck up this car stuff, people could die. If I fuck up the rockets, people could die. He wouldn't be able to sleep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's the CEO of a company, is the allocator of resources, and if you do not allocate your resources correctly, whether it's time and money and direction and blah blah blah, your company is not going to function and work. And it all starts from the top. Now, when you talk about work, extensive labor and work, yes, that is shared amongst all the employees, but the employees aren't there in the first place if the person who started it didn't take the risk that you're not taking to have this here in the first place.
Like I forgot how much Elon put in, but he
Oh, there's a bunch of people that always... Like, I don't like Elon, but I hate people when they go like, he didn't even like found Tesla or whatever. It's like, motherfucker, if he never joined those two other losers those two other guys were never going to turn Tesla into what it is today, or even get 100th of the way there without Elon.
And even any business, like, a fucking starting a small agency or something, You're going to have to, put the work in at the start, not take a salary for a few years, whatever it ends up being. And then you've created an environment that employees can come in and they're like, well, what do we do? We're like, well, here's the strategy we develop, same thing. And it's just, yeah. And then that's that whole thing of like, oh, I deserve more bonus. I deserve more equity. I deserve this. I deserve that.
Yeah.
When you actually don't take on the risk of the founder. That's why owners of the business and the co-founders have equity, because that's how they're rewarded for creating a new, and that's also that's the risk they take as well, is if your company fails, that equity is worth nothing. So I don't know. It's interesting.
Maybe also people haven't been exposed to a company that has like a mission. Like a lot of people that have that type of opinion might work a job they don't care about, or they work somewhere where, they're like, there isn't meant to be a stated mission. Not every company's supposed to be like that. But for a company like Tesla or, whatever, SpaceX or any other company that has a mission, you need a leader figure. It is otherwise you rock up to work and you have no idea what direction you're supposed to take, or like have the motivation, or so like if Elon Musk wasn't, there's plenty of people that take jobs at Tesla because Elon Musk, they want to work with Elon Musk. They want to work for Elon Musk. They want to work on his vision and change the world and blah, blah, blah. Like otherwise you rock up to work and like the incentive is, well, not the incentive per se, but like the motivation is not there. It needs to be propelled. Someone needs to tell you what to do and how to do it and why you're doing it. And he's a big part of the why. Anyway, I didn't want to like glaze Elon too much. But that's the only facet of where I respect and will glaze Elon. Everything else, he's like a terrible husband, a terrible family man. Like he is like a shitty person. But
you gotta
respect the what he's been able to sort of pull off and accomplish there.
I want to hear your thoughts on the Apple Intelligence stuff.
Okay, let's do this one quick. Okay, so Apple just announced their version of AI. They brand everything to be Apple. So like instead of saying artificial intelligence, they're calling it Apple Intelligence.
Yeah, just still AI.
They did this with what was it called again? The headset.
Vision Pro.
I can't believe I forgot what the headset's called. Vision Pro. They, instead of saying like the cringy words like metaverse or anything like that, they said spatial computing. So they always do this where they brand like the underlying technology as a term or a word that no one else is using to make it seem like it's theirs.
Yeah.
And so, Apple Intelligence was their slogan. Did you see it? Did they use the slogan like AI that's like built for the rest of us? Did you see that?
I didn't see that.
That's like a really word
for the rest of us.
So they're saying like we're focusing on AI technologies that's going to actually like help and work for like the common person.
And then the idea is that the other people not included in the rest of us are like who are they?
Smart genius people that like, it's like a kind of weird marketing to like way to like look down upon like your consumers.
Because OpenAI is like incredibly consumer friendly. Like
normal
17-year-olds using it for their
people.
school exams. Like that's the rest of us.
Yeah, the marketing thing didn't really play out well. But to recap the event, they came out, they partnered with OpenAI. They're making OpenAI will be used to make Siri a lot more functional and better. And I think we talked about this in our other AI episode where we were like, we don't use Siri right now because it's shit, right?
Yeah.
Like we'll use it to like set the timer or a stopwatch, but we don't use it for anything more. So they're using OpenAI now to do it. And there's that. And then there's like these other like kind of cool AI features that are very useful and I think will change the game for older people. So like regular people as well, but older people, just making technology easier for older people. So let's say you had a lunch schedule, like you texted, your mom that, oh, we're having lunch at this place next Friday. And instead of like the mom going on your text to see what place you guys said you're going to have it on and then going to maps and checking where it is. And then instead of like using all these apps, she could just say in her phone like, hey, where do I need to be for my daughter's lunch thing on Friday? What time is it? Can you just tell me everything about it, what I need to do? And then the AI agent on the phone will look at your messages and go on maps and put all the pieces together to synthesize very easy you have lunch at this restaurant. It's about 15 minutes away from you right now. If you leave at this time, you can catch a train, or if you drive, like it's just like, it's not crazy groundbreaking, but it's like great technology that will make your life a whole lot more convenient. And so I think that's like pretty cool. Did you see the calculator?
On iPad.
That's cool. That's really interesting. So the iPad, and I think it's coming to iPhone as well, you can write out equations and then it will automatically write out the answer to the equation in your handwriting. And then like you can in real time change the sort of the operations or the equation, and it will update the answer in real time. And then you can like plot graphs, and this sounds like really like geeky and not cool, but when you see it, I urge everyone to sort of look at it. It is pretty cool. So everything they announced wasn't that crazy, but it's just super, super convenient. And the last thing I'll touch on that they announced that I think is game changing is you'll be able to tell Siri or the AI, Apple Intelligence, hey, can you order me like Chinese food from one of the 3 places I like if it's open right now? And I want it to be here in 20 minutes and I don't want it to cost more than $30. Can you do that? And then it will on device do all the operations required to do. So it will go on Uber Eats, and then it will scroll through, and it will go. And like this is all happening in the background. So they will do the actions that you will usually take, but for you in the background. So then the answer, when you say that message, after 5 seconds is, all right, Chow Ming is coming in 15 minutes. Make sure you're ready. And it's like, that's kind of cool, right? Cool. Like, that's fucking convenient. And so, yeah, I know that's my summary of Apple Intelligence event. What did you guys watch it? And did you like anything?
I didn't watch the whole thing, but I was pretty disappointed that after all these years, they just didn't make their own,
AI.
Yeah, like I'm sort of disappointed they're using ChatGPT. I sort of wish they had their own thing.
Which they still might do. Just because I don't know, they've never really done this before where they use like another company's technology. Apple usually just builds
software
in-house
technology, right? Because for a while they were using Samsung chips and
on a software layer. Even hardware recently, I think hardware's been all Apple, like Apple M2 chip and blah blah blah. They tried to do that. They're a very closed company. Yeah. There's a few reasons why you would do that and a few reasons why you wouldn't. In their case, if you have a closed environment and a closed supply chain, things are cheaper. They're usually higher quality control. You can then
you can engineer the product.
Yeah,
to be exactly. You're not making some Frankenstein of chips and.
Well, that's the reason why iPhones are very like purpose built to be like a very luxury device that's smooth and looks nice, and because they're the only ones that are in the process or in the making the software and hardware, whereas Android, there's all these third parties coming in, so like some experiences won't be as smooth or and there's trade-offs to everything, right? So there's that we don't have to really dive deep into it, but it's the first time they're really like using another company for like a very important function of the phone, and I think it was out of necessity.
Like, is it because OpenAI is just that fucking good at it?
They're so far ahead, which is insane.
That's crazy. I don't know how they're doing it.
Yeah, they're so far ahead. And I think a part of I hate to go back to the rant I was before, but Sam Altman is like a big reason why I think that they are like, he's a fuckhead in a lot of respects, but in other ways, like he is such it seems like from the outside, he's a great leader in terms of knowing when to execute and what to execute and leading people. Like, remember when he got fired and I think 90% of the workforce were like, we're going to leave if Sam is going to stay fired. Like these motherfuckers love to work with him and for him. And so, they're just so fucking far ahead. And I think
they're just like securing a partnership with Apple is insane.
It's huge. Apple's not paying them. So Yeah, is that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Apple's
Little
not
data
paying them.
shit.
I just said Siri and Siri popped on my phone. Yeah, Apple's not paying them. It's because like Apple's giving them access to. It's a non-exclusive deal. Apple's giving them access to 1 billion devices.
Yeah.
So OpenAI, like,
And it's only on Pro iPhones as well, isn't it? Or am I wrong about that?
yeah. So there's also like a strategy that I think Apple is trying to execute on where they legitimately do need more powerful phones to run these like AI features.
More powerful than what we've got.
Do you have an iPhone 15 Plus? Okay, you need an iPhone 15 at minimum to run some of these features. For some of them, I think Pro is required. But this is why I think the market loves this. And like Apple's been soaring. I'm pretty sure that there's some strategy behind closed doors where Apple wants to start coming out with all these AI features and they want to make it so convenient and so useful that people will start upgrading their phones to the newest version because they've seen in the last few years people aren't upgrading. Like people are skipping version, and that's like never really happened in Apple's history, right? Everyone,
you don't need it.
When the next iPhone comes, Apple iPhone 3G to iPhone 4 to iPhone 5 to iPhone 6, people were upgrading every single year. And then something happened along the lines of iPhone 10 and 11, 12, 13, where people weren't upgrading. They're like, the phones are the
all
same.
they tried to do is innovate the camera, right?
You think producer Lincoln just had some input there? I mean, it's also fucking expensive. But so now, if they make the AI so useful and friendly, and it kind of has like this network effect where if we were hanging out. And let's say I was a broke motherfucker. I had like an iPhone 12 and you had an iPhone 16.
Yep.
And you're like, hey, can you just order me like this Chinese food? And I want it here in 15 minutes. Thanks. And then I saw you say that. And then 15 minutes later, food comes to your door. If I saw that,
you're going to want that
and
too.
I would want that. I'm like, wait, how the fuck? We both have iPhones. How are you doing that? And you're like, just stop being a brokey and upgrade your phone. I think that's part of the strategy to get people to upgrade the hardware. And that's why they've made this trade-off of working with an evil corporation like an OpenAI. Because they're pretty like dissimilar like in their approach to like privacy and stuff. Like it's a very weird combination, OpenAI and Apple. They're not, I don't know if you know much about, like Apple is very pro-privacy. They've put a lot of like resources into making sure that that they're good in that area. OpenAI on the other hand, they've done a bunch of things where a lot of missteps against privacy. And so, I think they're meeting in the middle. They're like, okay, let's work with OpenAI for the meanwhile. It's a non-exclusive agreement. We're not going to, pay each other or whatever. We're both going to benefit from this. And then when we're ready, we're going to come out with our own LLM or whatever AI and kick ChatGPT to the curb. But let's get everyone used to the AI features first and get them to upgrade their phones and then let's boot.
By that time, OpenAI's got they'll probably release their own fucking phone.
Yeah, I think there's plans. There's like some plan for that Sam Altman, there was some headline that he was partnering with Johnny Ive from Apple. Do you know about that?
No.
He literally was at his place or whatever, and he's like talking to like getting some Saudi money. He was in the Middle East to try and build chips and looking to design and make their own phone.
Wow.
So I think for the first time we're seeing a lot of these companies, their strategies pivot in real time because of fear, and like they are falling behind. But yeah, that's. Do you think that's enough AI talk for today? Is that
probably?
Did we talk? We talked a lot about AI. Should we go into some other real quick topics?
Sure.
And close off the episode? Let's see. BeReal was acquired for $4 billion. No, it wasn't $4 billion. I don't know why I said $4 billion.
How much was it?
It was for 500 million pounds.
Still, that's a bill.
By a UK company. It was acquired by.
I don't know. No, it was a French.
Why is it pounds?
Yeah, sorry. A French company, Voodoo, which is a games developer, bought BeReal for $500 million pounds. I said $1 billion pounds. $500 million pounds.
$500 million pounds. Where's BeReal? Aren't they from somewhere weird?
I don't know. Are they from that weird fucking place? I don't know where they're from. I don't know. But do you know about Voodoo?
No.
Yeah, I remember their games.
Voodoo
It's been around for a
they
while.
have a lot of games like in the top 100 app store. They're like arcadey games. All the games have like similar themes, and they make a couple $100 million a year. I think I remember reading this report, and Goldman Sachs invested money into Voodoo.
Whoa.
So it's a pretty serious company.
Why would you buy BeReal?
So this is what I want to talk about. Like, okay, so BeReal, first of all, for people that don't know, is like a photo sharing app, and it's meant to like be spontaneous and in the moment where some timer goes off. I actually don't use it, so I'm probably not the best person to explain this, but some timer goes off and it says, hey, take your BeReal, take a photo right now.
Yeah.
And when you take a photo, it also takes a photo from your back camera and your front camera, so people can see what you're doing right now. Like all your friends can see what you're doing right now. And people liked that sort of, type of, producer Lincoln's playing one of the Voodoo's games right now on the screen. Oh, I thought you were playing that.
Whoa.
Yeah,
800 million downloads.
Yeah, that's just one app.
Helix Jump it's that one. Okay, yeah.
So Voodoo makes paper.io, they make hold.io,
I think
Spiral.
I looked into them like years ago. I'm pretty sure they just buy a lot of games that have just been made.
Yeah,
by
they do.
developers, and then they're sort of like an advertising. Like,
because it's just like a distributor, right?
Yeah, they're just
They're a publisher,
exactly. They're a
basically
publisher
a
of
publisher,
So they'll see a game they might look at some charts and see this game on this random day suddenly started getting like 20,000 downloads a day. Let's buy it. Let's do our things to juice it up, and we can make it number one.
Yep.
And we're going to and we know how to monetize these games, so we might change some stuff to monetize it. And anyway, Voodoo, they bought BeReal, this like new social network that BeReal launched, and it did very well initially.
It grew really quickly. Yeah.
It grew very quickly. I think it had like 50 million people using it every month.
Yep.
And then it just stopped growing. But I think those 50 million people kept using it.
I don't think people use it anymore.
Which is like, well, I don't want. I'm not very prepared on the stats here, but I'm pretty sure it stopped growing. But then people kept the people that did sign up kept using it. So that's why there's a big acquisition price here, because it has a sticky user base. And so that's what consumers all about. If you're building a consumer app, all that matters is how many of these people. Honestly, the downloads don't really matter. It's how many people that are sticking. And then there's a growth component. Like if they were still growing, BeReal would be worth a couple $2 billion. But the fact that they stopped growing, but they still have this user base, 500 million, I think seems like the right price for Voodoo at least. Okay, now why would a games company buy BeReal, a social media app platform? I don't know if you'd call it. It's like a Snapchat-like thing. My initial assumptions when I look at this deal is they look at BeReal and they see a core engaged user base that they could potentially onboard onto their game. So they could sprinkle in their arcadey games into the BeReal app and get some downloads from there or whatever. So that's like effectively getting some CAC, like acquiring users in a way that's not like, let me just buy ads on the app store or whatever, or in other apps or whatever. That's like, let me just buy a company that has all these users and try and get them. That's one obvious reason. Now, that's not that smart at a glance, because 500 million for, I think, 50 million users might not be. I think someone did the math. They're like, that's a $20 CAC, like a customer acquisition cost. And that's not that great for a mobile game. So that strategy, that's what everyone's saying is a strategy, but I don't really think
they might have a way of making BeReal a bit more engaging. Yeah, so it says 40 million daily active users,
which is insane.
6 days a week.
Yeah, that is insane. That's the reason why it's been able to be acquired for that much.
Maybe it's like just a bunch of people who are like basically more prone to being addicted to being on their phones.
I mean, is it kids? Is it like, because I feel
BeReal?
Like
there might be some overlap in the demo.
Who's playing their games? It's probably mostly.
But you'd be
kids
surprised.
as well.
There's a lot of mums that play Candy Crush and Farmville and whatever. So like,
I can't imagine them using BeReal.
But no. BeReal is a younger audience.
Yeah. And also, they're not going to be able to convert every BeReal user into
no, obviously not. There'll be some percentage that would convert, but that's like the initial strategy. There could be some strategy where they're like, we're so good at monetizing these games that we could potentially monetize that sticky user base of 40 million people. Now, I don't think you really want to monetize a social media app in this like infancy. I know they've been out for a bit, but usually like if something's cool, you don't fuck with it. You don't
And
like.
what are you paying to do? Like,
or like ads, or I don't know what. I don't use BeReal, so I can't really comment on this too much. But yeah, those are like the initial kind of things that I think about. But I don't know, props to them. $500 million acquisition in what, like 2-3 years? I don't know how long they've been around, but
they got it done.
that's good to them. Japan's government is making a dating app. Do you see that?
Yeah, because people aren't dating, right?
People aren't dating, they're not fucking, so like
No more babies.
and you need, they have a declining population, and that's very dangerous for a society for a multitude of reasons. So, and that's, I think when maybe it was Elon Musk or some worldly figure type person, when they were asked what is like our number one issue as a planet, as a species, they were like, we're not reproducing enough. And so, yeah, I guess that's like the first ever time a government's going to take it into their own hands. That like where a bunch of incels aren't like they're decaying the productivity of a society, and they're stepping in now. Like, we're going to get
government mandated dating.
Like, you have to download this app if you are single.
You have to go somewhere. You know what I mean? Like in like a town hall, you have to go, and there's like 1,000 guys and 1,000 women, and you have to like do 2 hours of speed dating once a week, and you just have to.
This is all the things we talked about today are like very dystopian, futuristic type things. So I don't know, Andre, do you have any thoughts on that? Or
I can't. So is everyone just single in Japan? Like a lot of people?
I think just in general, this generation, a lot more like incel-y, a lot more like they're definitely not having like sex like people used to.
Crazy work culture as well.
Work. There's a bunch of conditions that have like sort of unlocked this sort of crises, and it's only really bad in Japan versus other places. I'm assuming based on the government stepping in here, but yeah,
what have other countries done? Like obviously China's the opposite. They did a one-child policy. I think Singapore did a.
They be fucking too much.
Singapore did a pro, like maybe it's like anti-contraception or something. I can't remember. I might be completely wrong, but I think they had a low birth rate, and they had to curb it. But yeah, I don't know what you do to like, because at the end of the day, those like you've got to change the behavior of those like incel-y guys or women.
Femcells.
I don't know how you do it. Like
Andre had like an insane
I've
reaction
never heard
to femcell
that before.
Yeah, have you ever met a femcell?
I don't think I have.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
They're out there.
I've never met a femcell.
Whoa. I'm trying to think. I've definitely like, I've met some femcells. There's interesting people.
Why don't they just pay people to have kids? Don't they do that some places?
They could incentivize people to have kids, but then like, I don't know. There's probably some like unwanted.
Too many of the wrong type of kid.
Yeah. And also if you like motivate the wrong people to, I feel like if you pay people to have kids, you're going to get people that probably shouldn't have kids and don't look after them and just want money. Like, I see that fucking $2,000.
Yeah.
Let me pop this one out and like dump it on the street. Like, I don't know. I don't think it's probably.
I think they do that in
Right
Europe
thing.
or something.
They do it somewhere.
You do maybe like lower education cost or something for them. Like you can do it in a nicer way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Probably. Yeah. Trump is really pro crypto all of a sudden.
It needs that fan base.
And I think that, so I think the strategy here, what he's doing is right now based on, I think, do you guys know who Nate Silver is? He does like the most famous polling for elections. Right now it's 51% Biden and like 48% Trump and 1% whoever else. So it's like kind of 50-50. And so what Trump and Biden need to do, they need to like, there's like maybe like swaths of populations in America that are single issue voters that are on the fence. And if you just appeal to their one thing, that they would vote for you. And crypto is like, America has, I think, 50 million Americans that are buying and using crypto, and a subset of that are probably hardcore crypto people. So it's like a big portion of the population that I think that there's also some overlap. These people a lot of people that are pro crypto, they don't vote. They don't really
they're
like
a little bit more libertarian.
Yeah, they're definitely like more libertarian and because that's, I mean, like the thesis and the reason why you hold crypto is very libertarian. So I think that's part of his strategy here, where if he can get these people that don't really vote to vote for him. And it just needs to be 1 or 2% or 3% of Americans that he needs to get, and he can win the election.
Well,
so that's why it's really important.
1% of Americans would be holding enough crypto that if Trump said, all right, we're taxing it a bit less, we're doing this, and it pumps the price, they're probably going to vote for that.
Exactly. People have a financial incentive to vote. Now they're actually going to go out. All they have to do, because they look at everything like an investment. If they're like, all I have to do is go out, vote for Trump, come back home, that's like a whatever, half a day thing. And now I'm going to save 25% of my crypto or whatever it is. Or like now I just have a president that like,
and then they don't give a fuck about the other issues.
Yeah. And these people don't, which is like a very, I'm not promoting being a single issue. You should not be a single issue voter, but I'm saying there are people like that where it's stupid, where you would vote for like, even though you might think that Trump is a jackass, like you're like, oh, I might just, all right, he's like similar to Biden, but he's going to pump my bags. And so, I just think that was interesting. He went to San Francisco, I think for the first time in a while, at least to do like a tech tour. And so generally, like San Francisco is very liberal. Like it's a blue state, like California in general. So the fact he went there and there was enormous amounts of support for him. And he was saying stuff like, every Bitcoin should be made in America. Like he was saying all these wild ass shit where, they all fucking loved it. And now it's like there is, obviously probably the overwhelming majority of San Franciscans that's not even a thing, but overwhelming majority of the population still probably hates Trump. Now he has like that fourth that didn't care about Trump, one to vote for him, and that's all he needs.
My whole thing of the election, it's all just so trashy. Like Trump literally just got convicted for bribery. And
there was a bunch of
and then you've got Joe
stuff,
Biden's son currently on trial.
I think he got arrested. Yeah, he's been convicted as well. Yeah.
So it's like, what the fuck?
It is a reality.
Like the people
TV
running
show,
the country can't even like keep themselves in check, or their kids, or like it's like some trashy behavior.
Yeah, it's very trashy. And like we live in Australia, so we shouldn't really care about the states and the politics there. But someone once told me, when America sneezes, Australia gets fisted or something. I don't know, like whatever, like decisions that are made on Capitol Hill do have a trickle-on effect to our economy and maybe less our economy, but definitely our markets. And there's a lot of trickle-on effects where
and just the world economy, what happens.
It is a powerhouse. They lead
America and Russia.
They lead the free world.
America, Russia, and China relationships get a bit strained. It's like,
The last one I had is, have you guys been seeing this wave of meme coins being launched by D-list celebrities? Have you been seeing this, Andre? Iggy Azalea.
Yes, I did see that one.
Caitlyn Jenner,
It's not Pumped Up Fun ones.
I think some of them are built on Pumped Up Fun, which is like a platform to launch shitcoins. But crypto has every cycle there's like a category of technology that gets adopted by celebrities that are washed up, and it's an easy way for them to make money or gain popularity. Last cycle it was NFTs.
Yeah.
This cycle it's launching your own token. And so it's so funny. You get the list. There's the list of celebrities that are partaking in this, like Lil Pump and Iggy Azalea. It's like all these celebrities that
classic trashy celebrities.
These people have fallen off big time, and now it's it's clearly and obviously a money grab to launch a random ass meme coin token. That this is kind of bad because regulators would look at this and go these people with influence and followers are creating their own securities and then dumping on Americans. This is going to cause some unwanted issues.
Totally.
But man, we see this in every single cycle of something.
That's it's the same thing as making shit quality merch or not showing up to your concert or all that classic shit that someone like Lil
there should
Pump
be a blacklist.
They've done all of it. You know what I mean?
Celebrities that partake in. You should immediately know if a celebrity's doing this, they're no longer making money for the initial.
They're actually
thing
just trying to
for.
get $100,000 for the next couple of months. Do you know what I mean? To live that lifestyle still.
Which is so sad to think about, but
these people aren't really ever respectable, though. I mean,
no.
If you follow them and you buy into this shit, well,
Anyway, that's it for this. Well, what's happening next week? We might get a guest.
We'll try.
Let's
We keep
fucking
saying
get
it,
Let's
but-
get those cheeky boys on.
Yeah, maybe we'll ask.
We get some- we get some-
cheeky boys.
Some cheeky boys on. And we need to get like a woman guest. We need to have like a more diverse.
I don't know a single woman.
What? Yeah, what do you mean? Oh, do you mean like a woman that would
Australia,
come on as a guest?
No.
Yeah.
That's
I don't even know
at
any.
all?
I don't know any dude guests that I can get on. To be honest with you, so
Yeah, we need to like
It's slim
spice
pickings.
up.
It's
we need to
slim
spice
pickings.
up the.
we can do some outreach.
Diversity of
There's
our
definitely some like cool female founders, but I'm just like, and same with male. I'm just like not that well networked, to be honest.
We'll find some people.
We'll find some.
But no. Thanks you guys. Thanks you guys for.
Thanks you guys.
Thanks you guys.
It works.
Thanks, you guys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was really quiet the whole time.
Yeah. You look like you wanted to die.
I need to just go lie on the floor real quick.
Andre's gonna die. You rinse this stuff. You can do it on Thursday.
Oh, you can do like clips that you can post on IG. Oh, we didn't do your secrets.
We can do it next week.